I don't know about you guys, but Halloween has got to be my absolute favorite holiday. The spooky atmosphere, chill fall season, and motivation to make an epic costume or cosplay for Halloween is just the perfect combination. Another thing that's epic about this time of year is the temporary Halloween branding every franchise follows. And so far, I'm really impressed with Illumix's spooky integrations into FNaF AR. Jack-O-Chica couldn't fit better, but with their additions to the game, I've seen some confusion expressed by viewers on the canonicity of the Jack-O animatronics, which mainly stems from misconceptions about FNaF VR and Ultimate Custom Night. So today's video will be my thoughts on the lore of the Dark Circus event, plus clearing up the canonicity confusion currently shrouding Ultimate Custom Night and thus FNaF VR and AR. So just to kick this video off before getting into the good stuff, I'm going to begin where I left off in the last FNaF AR video. I had ended off on a small mechanics guide relating to Ballora being added to Special Delivery, but that was before any further Dark Circus animatronics were released. Since then, we've received Ringmaster Foxy, Magician Mangle, and Clown Springtrap, which I'll briefly explain here. Now, Ringmaster Foxy and Magician Mangle are both pretty simple, being that they both precisely fit the Circus event. The only minor thing that may need some explanation is Magician Mangle being able to levitate knives. It's clear when looking at Special Delivery that Fazbear Entertainment has some extremely advanced technology, so I wouldn't be surprised if they could somehow rig up an animatronic to levitate objects, seemingly by magic, though it's more likely a combination of technological ingenuity and maybe a sprinkle of Remnant, since Remnant does have effects on the environment and objects around it. Now, one reason I haven't touched on Clown Springtrap yet is due to the fact that I've got a much more complicated but interesting conspiracy to share with you all. Now, the easy answer to Clown Springtrap is that some idiot Fazbear Entertainment employees wanted to dress up the rotting murder rabbit as a clown to go with the circus theme, but I don't think that's the case. I think there's a much more interesting scenario that somehow works surprisingly well when considering my explanation of the Sizzling Summer event. A brief summary of my Sizzling Summer explanations was that the Flamethrower Endo and Broiler Baby were made in order to destroy and dispose of the Springtrap animatronics running around the world. The results of this would be Flaming Springtrap somehow still surviving even if on fire, and Scorching Chica, being that the tag team would mistake Chica for Springtrap. Taking a quick look at Clown Springtrap, we can see that he's basically just a circus clown with a large outfit, some clown makeup, and a freaking huge mallet, though I'm convinced this outfit isn't just to get into spirit. I'm convinced that the makeup, costume, and mallet are Springtrap's attempts to disguise themselves from the scorching gaze of the sizzling tag team. Picture this: some Springtraps get destroyed by the scorching tag team, and all Springtraps are forced into hiding. But then, the circus rolls into town, providing the perfect excuse to nab a disguise relating to the event. Though it doesn't just end at the disguise. That giant mallet Springtrap carries would serve as some pretty good self-defense in case the disguise doesn't exactly do the trick. I know a lot of viewers don't exactly like me attempting to cram every new addition to the game into some plausible lore explanations, but some things are just fitting together a little too well to be coincidence. Now, since the previous events have been explained fully, it's time to jump into the present, being the release of Jack-O-Chica. Now, similar to the Dark Circus event, I do have lore-inclusive explanations for these characters, but those explanations will probably be interpreted incorrectly due to the mass confusion that was planted in Ultimate Custom Night and then sprouted into FNaF VR and AR. So it's about time to clear up the canonicity confusion of certain questionably canon characters. To get straight to the point, the place where I feel a lot of confusion is coming from is the association of non-canon events to canon characters. One example is the sister location Custom Night, which mainly featured Lolbit, Yendo, and Bonnet. Many may assume that these three characters aren't canon in any way to the main timeline, but this is actually incorrect for multiple reasons. The thing is that characters featured in non-canon events can still be canon. They just didn't show up at that exact time as presented. As an example, the sister location custom night canonically never happened in the series, though Bonnet, Yendo, and Lulbit are all very real animatronics or entities or whatever. We know this since both Bonnet and Lulbit made an appearance in Ultimate Custom Night, Lulbit made an appearance as an Easter egg in the primary control module, and Yendo also had an Easter egg appearance in Funtime Auditorium. So even though they primarily appear in non-canon events, that doesn't mean they aren't canon. Another example of this logic is the sister location fake ending, where even though Michael technically never discovered the room still exists canonically, along with all of its contents and lore-related implications. Now, with that explained, the same logic can be used for FNaF 4, specifically relating to the Halloween update and the Jack-O animatronics. With the Halloween update, we received 5 new animatronics, being Nightmare Balloon Boy, Nightmare Mangle, Nightmarian, Jack-O-Bonnie, and Jack-O-Chica. Now, I'm aware that Scott had decided Nightmare BB was the only canon one out of the batch, but I think the Ultimate Custom Night actually changed that by providing an explanation for the other 4. Just to clear up what Scott meant by canon when relating to Nightmare Balloon Boy, the only thing canonizing Nightmare Balloon Boy did was make his presence in these scenarios of the FNaF 4 nights possible, which means that the other 4 characters canonically don't show up and can't show up in the FNaF 4 gameplay. By the way, if you're curious on just exactly what are the FNaF 4 nightly scenarios, then check out my most recent Golden Freddy video. A lot of people really enjoyed my explanations from that video. Okay, so shameless plug over. Getting back on topic, how Ultimate Custom Night explained the Jack-Os, Nightmare Mangle, and Nightmarian is that the game provided a reason for their very existence. Consider the idea that Nightmare Mangle, Nightmarian, and the Jack-Os are all creations of the vengeful spirit for the sole purpose of tormenting William, with some certain symbolism. Jack-O-Bonnie and Chica seem to symbolize the fires of hell that William is now eternally burning in, while Nightmarian is the symbolic dark reflection of the puppet which Michael created through the murder of Charlotte Emily.
I am a burning reminder of your misdeeds. The fire within me burns eternal, and now you shall as well. I am the fearful reflection of what you have created.
While it isn't suggested by anything, Nightmare Mangle may also be symbolic of William having created Mangle through a murder, be it child or dog, though that's a little more speculation. So, just to summarize, even if a character primarily appears in a non-canon event, such as the Halloween DLC, it doesn't mean they aren't also technically canon. So, with the canonicity cleared up relating to the first generation, it's now time to cover FNaF VR and thus AR. Something I don't think a lot of people understand is that Ultimate Custom Night was really the end of Scott's story, while FNaF VR and Onward is building on a completely new story. This new story of generations that we're currently in the middle of doesn't have any effect on the old story, even if aspects from the old story still seep into the new one, such as classic characters and events. Now, with that idea put forward, the key to solving FNaF VR and Onward relating to the character canonicity is to understand the one thing that the new series did change about the old one. FNaF VR confused an extreme amount of people with its inclusions of potentially non-canon characters, but Scott actually provided an explanation to this through a Reddit post and one of the Tape Girl logs. One of the Tape Girl logs detailed Fazbear Entertainment's convoluted plan to discredit indie games made by an indie developer that apparently tarnished the brand with their crazy stories. The twist is that Fazbear hired the developer to make those crazy stories, and the VR game was made to discredit those games in an expansive plot to reboot the brand.
They lied to us. They lied to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer who supposedly made up a bunch of crazy stories that tarnished the brand. But that's not true at all. In their haste to develop this VR game and clear their name, they sent us some things I don't think they intended us to see, such as a hard drive containing emails between Fazbear Entertainment and a certain indie developer. Fazbear Entertainment hired the game developer. Those indie games were designed to conceal and make light of what happened. This isn't just an attempt to rebrand. It's an elaborate cover-up, a campaign to discredit everything.
Those indie games referenced in the log are, of course, FNaFs 1 through 4, FNaF World, Sister Location, Pizzeria Simulator, and Ultimate Custom Night. Now, this doesn't mean that the indie dev fabricated the original story, but it's more suggesting that the original story was all real events turned into games that Fazbear Entertainment doesn't endorse and can then say these stories are false in their VR game. I'm also under the impression that the indie games were made in order to historically preserve the events, even if only Fazbear Entertainment knows that they're true. One of the main reasons Scott took the actual events of the original story and turned them into games in the overall FNaF universe is so that he could include some questionably canon characters, even if those characters have reasonable explanations now. So, just to summarize, basically any character that came with or before Ultimate Custom Night are all real characters from real discredited events that Fazbear Entertainment has the rights to use in things such as VR and AR. Now, I'm guessing with all that explained, you can see just exactly how Jack-O-Chica and Jack-O-Bonnie could be added to Special Delivery. It's because all the classic characters can be used by Fazbear, and the Jack-Os are perfect for being added to the delivery service. There's no complicated lore or anything, it's just the Fazbear getting into the spirit of the holidays. Now that that's all been explained, there's something really interesting I thought of based on certain voice lines from Jack-O-Chica. In both FNaF AR and Ultimate Custom Night, Jack-O-Chica says this line.
Greetings from the fire, and from the one you should not have killed. Greetings from the fire.
Now, that may just be Illumix pulling from other parts of the series, but I don't think that's the case, since, more interestingly, AR Springtrap also shares lines from Ultimate Custom Night, though not with himself.
I am here to claim what is left of you. You will not be spared. You will not be saved.
I'm here to claim what is left of you. You will not be spared. You will not be saved.
Let's see how many times you can be pulled apart and put back together again.
Let's see how many times you can be pulled apart. Let me put you back together, then take you apart all over again.
How interesting that AR Springtrap is pulling lines from Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear, who I claimed to be the Crying Child and Cassidy last time. Anyways, with the context of AR Springtrap repeating lines from Ultimate Custom Night, I'd like to propose a series of events that may make sense due to this. So, we begin at the end in Ultimate Custom Night, where Cassidy is tormenting William with his creations in an endless loop for all of eternity. Or at least it would have been for all of eternity if Fazbear Entertainment hadn't recovered the Springtrap circuit boards from the FNaF 6 Fire location and had not sent them to Silver Parasol Studios to be scanned into the FNaF VR game. The circuit boards being scanned into the Freddy Fazbear virtual experience then released William's soul from his eternal torture, though I wouldn't say he's entirely whole in the game. This release of William's soul causes Cassidy to follow him back to the real world, thus releasing every other spirit from their role in the loop, including Jack-O-Chica. Duplicates or pieces of William and Jack-O-Chica's souls or entities from Ultimate Custom Night then find their way into the delivery animatronics, thus repeating certain lines from the Loop of Torment. Cassidy has, at least by the Curse of Dreadbear, Release found her way into the game in search of William, now sporting the Crying Child's line of "It's me," which is now referring to Cassidy's relationship with William, being that she is his one true and final foe. That may all sound unfounded, but I just want to throw out the possibility that we may not have seen the last of some classic spirits of the series. Just be warned that if we see Nightmarian or Nightmare Balloon Boy using some of their Ultimate Custom Night lines in FNaF AR, then I might just be a step closer to being correct. I expect to see any one of Grim Foxy, Dreadbear, Nightmare BB, Nightmare Mangle, or Nightmarian enter FNaF AR in the coming weeks. Now, thank you so much for watching. It's really nice to see so many people enjoy the theories I craft, so if you did enjoy this, then consider checking out some other theories on the channel. In the end, I can't wait to see what new characters make their way into the series, as well as who we may see the returns of.
Let me